Today we are looking at algebra, and algebra basically deals with collecting like terms, finding the value of an unknown. It could be a letter. The first one is we look at how to collect like terms. Like terms can be either letters or numbers. So let's look at the first one. We have 4m plus 2p minus m plus 6p. Now we look at the letters which are the same, and then we add them together, or we subtract them together. We have 4m. We look for where there is m. There is another m. So 4m minus this m will give us 3m. Then we look for the p. We have 2p here and then 6p here. The signs in front of them are addition. That means we are adding. So 2p plus 6p, that will give us 8p. So this is plus 8p. The second one says 4t squared minus 5t minus 2t minus 3t squared. Now, as much as all these are t, but they vary. They vary because there are ones which have power 2 and there are ones which don't have power 2. So we collect the ones with power 2 together and we leave the ones without the power together also. So we have 4t squared, we have minus 3t squared. So this one we are going to subtract because the sign in front of 3 is negative. So 4t squared minus 3t squared will give us only t squared. I will look at the second one, which only has t. We have negative 5t and then negative 2t. Now negative 5 minus 2, that will give us negative 7. And then we put the t just there. So our final answer will be t squared minus 7t. Let's look at number 4. We have 4r times negative 3p times 3r times q. For the numbers, we multiply them all the same. So 4 times negative 3, that will be negative 12, times 3, negative 36. So we have negative 36. And then we multiply the r. r times r will be r squared. And then we have p multiplied with q. You just put p and then you bring q. So our final answer will be negative 36 r squared p q. Now dividing, we simply look at the numbers which are up and the numbers which are down. The ones which can be cancelled, you cancel them straight. In this case, we have 20 and 4 can be reduced. So you reduce this by 4, will go 1. 20, reduce that by 4, will go 5. And then we have z down, we have z up. That means they can cancel. You cancel the z down plus the z which is up. So that our final answer will be 5xy. This is the only number which is remaining. The same applies to number 6. 5 and 35, they have common factors, so we can divide them. So by 5, this will be 1. By 5, this will be 7. We have a down and a up. So we cancel 1a here, and then when you cancel 1a up, it will remain only a. We also have b here, and we have 3 b's down. When we cancel this b up, it will remain 1. And then when we cancel this b down, it will remain 2, since we are removing 1b from it. So that our final answer up will be 1 times a times 1, that will only be a up. Divide that by, down we have 7. 7 times this a is cancelled, we have b squared remaining. So our final answer will be 7b squared. Now let's look at substitution. When we are substituting, we normally have numbers that are given, and then we just go ahead and substitute them in the question that have been given. If a is equals to 2, b is equals to 5, c is equals to negative 3, and then d is equals to 10. We have to find a, 3ab, and then b, 5ad squared. Now, wherever those letters are, we substitute them with their appropriate correspondence. Let's look at the first one. For the case of 3ab, we already know the value of a. A is equals 2, and then B equals 5. So we go ahead and substitute direct. We're going to have 3 times the value of A, which is 2, times the value of B, which is 5. And then we go ahead and multiply this throughout. 3 times 2, that will be 6, times 5, that will be 30. So final answer for A will be 30. Let's look at the case of B. We are going to have 5AD squared. We already know the value of A, which is equals to 2. We know the value of D, which is equals to 10. But this time, we need D squared. So that means D squared will be 10 times 10, which will be 100. So that we are going to substitute this in this. So we shall have 5 times A, which is equals to 2, times D squared, which is now 100. So that we have 5 times 2, that will be 10, times 100, that will be 1000. And let's look at algebra that have brackets, and we need to open the bracket. Let's look at this first one. We have 3 into bracket A plus 6. How do we open this? We multiply the whole bracket with whatever is outside. So we have 3 times 2, that will be 6. Then you just put this A. Plus 3 times 6, that will be 18. 5 into bracket 7D minus 4. We multiply 5 times 7D, that will be 35D, minus 5 times 4, that will be 20. Negative 10 into bracket 2C minus 4. We multiply negative 10 times 2, that will be negative 20. And then we include the C. Now negative times a negative will be positive. Then 10 times 4 will be 40. 5A into bracket 2B minus C. We multiply 5 times 2, that will be 10. A times B, that will be AB, minus 5 times 1. There is an imaginary 1 before C. So we have 5 times 1, that will be 5. A times C, that will be AC. Then 5 has 2AB into bracket 4A minus 3AB squared. We multiply 2 times 4, that will be 8. A times A, that will be A squared. And then B, you just put the B. Since there is nothing, you can multiply with. Then minus 2 times 3, that will be 6. A times A, that will be A squared. B times B, that will be B cubed. We said when we are multiplying, letters, the same letters, we add the powers. That is why we have B times B squared as B cubed. So our final answer will be that. Factorization. Getting a factor out of a number you're given so that you can put it out of the bracket. So we have these numbers and see which factor we can get outside the bracket. We have 7A plus 21. What is that factor that is common between 7 and 21? In that case, it is 7. So we are going to have 7 put outside the bracket. Now what is remaining here is A plus. We need a number when you multiply by 7 will give you 21. And in this case, we have 3. So when you have 3 times 7 will give you 21. When you have 7 times A will give you 7A. So when you factorize this number, you'll have this answer. Let's have 10P plus 15PQ. Which number can we be able to put out? When we multiply the bracket with it, we can be able to get this answer. So in this case, we are going to have 5 is outside, a common factor between 10 and 15, and then P is also a common factor here and here. Those ones will be outside the bracket. Then what is remaining here? When you take away 10, that means you're left with 2. That when you multiply 2 times 5 will give you 10. And then this P automatically will accompany the number. Plus, when you divide 15 for 5, you're remaining here with 3. We took out the P, so we are here left with Q. So when you multiply this number out, 5P, 5 times 2, that will give us 10 with this P accompanying it. Then plus 5 times 3 will be 15. Then this P and Q will be following, just like that. Let's look at this one. This one is somehow more complex. We have 18, we have 6, and we have 30. We look for a common factor which is among those three numbers. And in this case, we have 6. Since you can divide 18 for 6, you can divide 30 for 6. Let's look at the letters. We have A here, we have A here, we have A here. So A is a common factor. We bring it out. Let's look at B. B is a common factor. We also bring it out. And then we see what is remaining here. 18 divided for 6 will remain, will go 3. And then we have A. We have this is 1A. We need so that it can be 2A. So that means 1A is remaining here. So that when you multiply this A with this A, will give us that square. And minus. Now B we cannot because B is just 1 and it is already outside. Minus. Now we have, if you look at this critically, we have 6AB, and then the whole of 6AB is already outside. That means we are left with just 1 here. So when you multiply 6AB times 1 will give us this number. Then plus. Now 30 divided for 6 will go 5. So that we have 5 here. And then we look at AB. AB is already outside here. But we have B squared. That means 1B is remaining here. So that if you multiply this B times this B will give you B squared. So that if you multiply this number out, we shall have 6AB times this. This will be 18. Then the A times A will be A squared. B, there is no B here, so the B will be just 1. Then minus 6AB times 1 will just be 6AB. And then plus 5 times 6, that will be 30. Then A is just 1, so it will be A. And then B times B will give us B squared.